Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for finally another review on this channel. You know, it's been a while, but let's crack on, shall we? Today, Imperial Settlers Roll and Write is a game I want to talk about. And if you've listened to a lot of my podcasts and tweets and that, you know that Roll and Write is not my first genre when it comes to oh, I love these games. Mainly because Roll and Write has been done to death. Seriously, it's like a new Roll and Write comes out every 5 minutes. It's getting ridiculous. And this one is not even caring about that gimmick because it's literally just called Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. Like, literally just shoving it in your face. You know, not my favourite name ever, but like I say, pretty much tells you exactly what it is. Imperial Settlers Roll and Write is the Imperial Settlers universe, just with a roll and write game. It is an engine building roll and write game where you are rolling dice each round, and with those dice you will have a certain number of actions and some resources to use. And on your pad you will have fields that you can harvest, you will have buildings that you construct by crossing off the various resources for them. And of course you have some tracks, everything's got tracks these days, that you can cross off the resources as you spend them in order to gain more victory points, and thus, of course, the one with the most victory points is the winner. Of course! In terms of what you get, Imperial Settlers does provide you with plenty enough content in the box. You know, it's a small box, but you have got, at least it finally gives you pencils. Seriously, how many roll and writes don't give you pencils? Nice little wooden rustic dice, I quite like these. If people want glossy, fancy dice, I quite like these rustic wooden ones as well. A few tiles, but certainly no shortage of, pads for multiplayer. And it doesn't look like much, and granted, if you play this lots with multiple players, it's not going to last forever, but they do have the PDFs on the website. You can simply print them off and then maybe laminate a few. So it's all entirely up to you. You'll never run out, really. But, they're very good quality, and the artwork is very much like the Imperial Settlers game, like the one I have on my shelf. It's nice, sort of cartoony, bright colours. I really like this artwork. And everything on these pads looks like it was hand-drawn. The stuff looks like graph paper. And, the boxes are not entirely symmetrical or anything like that. It looks like someone basically drew it on their sketch pad at school, but with decent artwork, because let's face it, I could never draw this well at school. But you've got tons of another sheet, which is basically the tracks that you level up at the top and the fields that you can harvest, and there's a lot of them going around. And if you thought that wasn't enough, you've even got a separate pad of solo missions that you can do. More on that a bit later. So you've got plenty enough content in this game, and it looks very colourful, very bright. Certainly, I mean, you look at something like Railroad Inc. and Welcome To, there's only so much to look at there. Here you've got some nice pretty pictures to look at, and some nice sort of, it does that aesthetical theme of it's hand-drawn and it's roll and write. It literally is shoving it in your face, because even the title is written as if you just sketched it in pencil. It's a nice little touch, A lot of roll and writes don't do this, and I think this one has kind of milked it and gone with the flow, so praise be to that. It's a very easy game to pick up. The rules are dead simple. If you've played roll and writes, you will easily pick this up in no time. And if you really want to know how to play it, watch it played. Rodney Symbols on the box. You can always go watch his videos on the subject. And I believe Paul Grogan has also done I think he's done a solo play of this as well. I could be wrong, but I'll put a link up in the description if I'm correct on that assumption. And my memory's a sieve, so apologies. But, you've got plenty of good aesthetics, you've got the nice artwork, and, an easy rule book to learn. I mean, it's got advanced rules in there and basic rules. Seriously, just play the advanced rules. They're not difficult. It basically just adds this extra little gimmick where when you construct buildings, if you can draw the shape on the tracks that you're leveling up, then you draw the shape and it gives you a bonus ability, or increases a bonus ability that you've got. It's a nice touch though, because it gives you something else to focus on, and it makes you plot what you're doing on the tracks. Like, I don't know, do I buy all the stone and level up that track all the way to maximum victory points? Well, I could, but then I won't be able to draw any shapes, because I need to draw like a T-shaped Tetris thing on this thing in order to get a bonus to that building. So maybe I should spend some apples onto this, or spend some wood on that, and I can't harvest these fields unless I build the bridges. Gives you a lot of good choices. And as I said, there's an engine building one. So whereas most of them are just like connect lines or just cross off something and hope you don't run out of space, this one actually plays out like an Imperial Settlers or engine building style game, where you construct the buildings, you harvest the fields, get the resources, and then you use what you have to beef up your points in later rounds. You know, once you've constructed a few buildings, you get some bonuses, some special abilities. If you draw the shapes on the track, it will increase the value of them. Like, for example, you'll build a forest, I don't know, a mill, a lumberyard or something, and it will get you a wood every round, no matter what. If you draw the free L shape though, the free cube L shape on your graph, it will increase that bonus to 2 wood. Draw it again, 3 wood, 4 wood, 5 wood. So you could focus entirely on that, so that every round you end up with so much wood that you can level up that wood track in no time or construct something else. It gives you a lot of options to do in the game. And from a roll and write perspective, that's a good achievement and makes this very enjoyable for yourself. The problem with this is that, like all roll and writes, it's practically multiplayer solitaire. You know, there are lots of roll and writes where you literally give zero care about anybody at the table. It's why I like Harvest Dice so much, because you get to do that. You know, you get to actually care, like, oh, I'm drafting the dice, I need to care what the opponents have got because I can stitch them up, hee hee hee. But here, literally the only interaction you have with other players is you have a bonus tile that you draft from, and basically, depending on the turn order, you just might be last or first or whatever to pick one of those bonuses. Whoop-de-doo. It's like the nice little bonuses, but they're not exactly the be-all, end-all, you know. You're doing your own thing. Nobody can, like, kill your buildings. Nobody can stop you doing what you want to do. You know, the dice are dice, you know. You don't get to pick how the dice roll. It just happens. So it's really minimal player interaction. So if that's going to be a bugbear to you, then you're not going to get much different here. If you never cared about player interaction with roll and writes, then whatever, you'll enjoy the engine building out of this. However, I will say this, as much as the multiplayer version of this is not particularly different from a solo, it's still enjoyable. I still like it. So it's not like it's like, oh, it's multiplayer solitaire, therefore I don't get it. I still enjoy it. But that solo mode I mentioned, oh, that is the price of admission alone. And I'll tell you why. Because what the solo mode does is that it gets you doing the same thing. You roll the dice each round and you try to get the resources and get the most victory points, and you're just basically trying to beat your high score. But this I love. This is gold. Essentially, this pad here gives you, and hopefully you won't be able to see very well on the camera, but can you tell that just from the colours? I'll try and find some better colours for you. Notice that's blue. Green, blue again, some brown, yellow. Each one of these pages is unique. It gives you the basic buildings like on your Empire sheet, but it gives you 6 unique buildings on every single sheet. And there's 48 of them, I believe. Is it 48? Come on, 48. Yeah, 48 adventure sheets. It's called adventure mode. So you essentially play a normal game. You play 10 rounds, you roll the dice, you try and get the resources, harvest, build buildings, whatever you want to do. But every time you play it, you end up with 6 completely different buildings. So the way you play it is going to change every single time. On top of the normal game where you might change your strategy, here you really will change your strategy. You know, it's no good saying I'm going to level up all the stone if suddenly your 6 buildings actually prefer you to harvest fields, you know, that kind of thing. And I love that. That's just such a cool difference between... It separates this from a lot of other roll and write games by giving you a solo mode that I think is actually better to play than the normal multiplayer mode.
This is why Superman works alone.
You know, if you like the multiplayer mode, great, then go for it. But then you've got the solo mode by yourself, added content, 48 different sheets. They even invite you on the website to design your own, so you may never run out of these things. And even if you did, print out all 48 again, and then just simply do a different tactic each time. You know, so much variety. The replay value in this box is gold for a roll and write, and I love that for it. So good aesthetics, decent replay value, short, takes about 45 minutes tops, multiplayer worthy, great solo mode. You know, it's one of the best roll and writes I've seen in the lineup compared to a lot of other roll and writes. Now, it doesn't revolutionize the genre, and it's not going to like suddenly convert you onto roll and writes if you're not a fan, but I still prefer Harvest Dice. I think that's the best roll and write out there, but this is a solid addition to the lineup. Now, as again, I'm not the biggest fan of the genre, but I think if you guys are massive roll and write fans, I see no reason why you would not enjoy this, if not put this high up on your favorites. It's a solid roll and write from Portal, from Ignacy Trevicek. It gets a 7 from me. I'm sure you guys would probably rate it higher just because you love roll and writes, but like I say, 7 means it's a game that I want to play and will bring out every now and again, especially, like I say, for the solo mode. That's pretty much worth the price of admission in itself. So that's Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you can. Check out the Patreon and my other review videos. But until then, as long as you don't scribble out on my pad and stick to your own, remember, it's only a game. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.